Hey parents, this is Dr. Nick Fanning with the Super Parent Syndrome. I hope you've been getting some value out of this. I assume that is because you're still listening. Appreciate you guys being patient with me as I try to be a super dad, going on vacation, and focusing on family or focusing on my personal business before I do these. Today's big topic, however, I want to share a secret of mine with you. It's how to blueprint. So sit back, relax, let's get started.
Parenting in the 21st century is ever evolving. And while you balance work, kids, and your sanity, it's easy to feel discouraged. Welcome to the Super Parent Syndrome with your host, Dr. Nick Fanning.
So, how to blueprint. Now, here's the thing. It's, if you're going to build a house or build any kind of product whatsoever, you wouldn't just start creating. I mean, yeah, it's fun with Play-Doh, but it looks like Play-Doh, and your man or house or whatever you create is going to look like a sloppy mess. Sometimes with gingerbread houses, you might make something look a little bit better. But for the most part, if you're winging it in any kind of product design, you're going to fail hard. In fact, there's a funny meme group called Nailed It or Failed It. Well, actually, that's a Netflix show. It's called Nailed It. And so if you look that up, you'll see all sorts of different things like people found on Pinterest, and then they tried doing it themselves, and the disasters that have occurred as a result of that. Well, that's meme culture. Well, let's talk about real life here for a moment, too. Very rarely, when I'm talking with coaching clients or even just patients in general, do people actually have a goal or plan set in place to move them from where they are currently to where they want to go. Now, what we do as doctors, we do create treatment plans, which takes the patient's goals in place. So, for example, if somebody has neck pain or headaches, or they have low energy, or they want to be, they have a low back issue, or whatever it might be, or let's say a kid has colic. We'll take them like, okay, here you are. I'm doing the examination to find out where you are currently, okay? And then based on my experience and your findings, we can go from A to B. So yes, I have experience with this. This should be able to help with this situation. We're going to get you to this point, okay? And to go from A to B, it's going to require this many visits, this kind of support, this nutrition, this exercise, whatever it might be. Well, if you took that same principle and applied it to your overall health, your spirituality, your relationships, and your business and finances, imagine what you could actually get done depending on how far out you went. So if you said, okay, 5 years from now, 1 year from now, 30 days, 90 days, pick a time frame and create exactly that plan as if you were a doctor treating a patient. But in this case, the doctor is you, and in this case, your life is the patient. So imagine the crystal clarity you could have with that. Okay, and so that's what I mean by blueprinting is just like building a house. Constructors and workers don't just show up and start nailing wood together. They have a blueprint or a plan that they follow. Now, for most people, they say that on average, 3% of the population actually successfully creates goals and follows them. And yet, the 3% has more success financially, relationship-wise, body-wise than the other 97%. So imagine if you did these things with the major areas of your life. Now, there are professional companies that take you through this process. There's coaches that do that. There's people that kind of help you create even a actual physical book that's a blueprint. One such company is called Lifebook. But you can do this yourself. Now, it's important to understand that you have to first figure out where you are. So weigh yourself. Look at your bank accounts. Give yourself a letter grade on your relationship with your wife and each of your children. Give yourself a letter grade on your spirituality. Okay, for some spirituality, that's also included a religion, but that's up to you. It could also be your job, also finances, because those two are related, but they are separated. And if you took a chance of just being really honest with yourself, if you have a health issue, come contact me. Okay, if you're needing direction, contact me. But at the same time, if you have the courage to actually write down where you are and then take a moment of ultimately where you want to go and be real about it, you have a chance of actually making it. And that's one of the first things that we do is we sit down with our clients and do this. Because I can tell you this, even in chiropractic, there's this obsession with numbers of how many people they see per week or how many new patients they get in a week or a month and how much collections and what their overhead is and things like that. And at the same time, when they focus so hard on that and they don't realize they're not spending any time at home or their own physical health is just absolutely terrible. That's where I come in, is like saying, okay, what do you truly want here? Because if you hit per se, let's say it's $300 people per week visiting, or 600 people per week that visits. What do you do when you reach that? What then? What's going to bring you that ultimate happiness? Because I can tell you this, once you see 300 people a week, 400 people a week isn't going to make you any happier. Happiness is not a result of our circumstances. Happiness is a mindset. Happiness is a result of our decisions and our internal reflection upon ourselves, which we can create circumstances to enforce or to detract, depending on what we want to do. So folks, take the time, create a blueprint, sit down with yourself. If your perfect day includes checking your phone to see if you have money enough to get, groceries, maybe that's one of those things you need to focus on. So here's the thing, folks, that's your homework. In your areas of body, in your areas of spirituality, relationships, both with spouse or potential spouse, kids, and your finances. What are you going to do? Where are you going? Do you have a clear vision of what that looks like? And how are you going to get there? Because once you figure out point A and point B, don't worry about point C and D and E. That's later. But if you figure out point A and then where point B is, it's a way easier to draw a map of how you're going to get there. So until next time, folks, thanks for listening. This is Dr. Nick Fanning, signing off.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Super Parent Syndrome. Please be sure to visit peptalksforparents.com for more content and our free newsletter. And remember, you are not alone.